Could not go back to work in America after working in the UK. There's no way.
Quick question. How much time off does your job give you? This is a very important question because one of the biggest points of criticism a lot of us Americans get as far as our society goes is the lack of a work-life balance. And part of that is contributed to companies and corporations not giving us enough time off to even enjoy the fruits of our labor. If you look at the average American, what we will tell you is our jobs give us roughly 2 weeks off a year. You earn hours towards your 2 weeks of cumulative time off annually on average. Now, it depends on the company you work for. Some companies offer a little bit more. Some companies don't offer as much, unfortunately. But the commonality between all of that is that we don't get to enjoy our time as much as we would like to. And therefore, you see us do crazy stuff like what I did a few years ago. For those that don't know, I talk about it a lot, so you probably know at this point. I traveled to Germany and tried to see as much of Germany as possible in a basically 2 to 3 week time span. And I visited over 14 cities, but I did not have enough time to truly sit and appreciate each location I was in because I was doing too much in such a short amount of time. And you guys let me know, but I thought to myself that I probably would never have an opportunity like that again because I myself get some time off, but maybe not as much time as I would like. So I did something called productivity maxing, where I used every ounce of my time to do something, which in theory sounds good, but when your entire day is filled up with different activities and a long syllabus of things that you must complete, then it kind of takes away from the enjoyment of the trip. And that's eventually what wound up happening halfway through my adventures through Germany. I became kind of exhausted. And although I did enjoy the experiences that I had out there, I felt like I would have gotten way more out of just sticking to 1 to 2 different places for the same time period and fully exploring the environment that I was in. This is the exact same situation that most Americans are also in when they use their free time. They only have 2 weeks out of the year for most Americans, right? So anything that they decide to do, vacations, even if it's lounging around or whatever, they have to calculate how they use their time. So in this video, I stumbled across an American that is working in the UK, and he highlights some very, very cool things about the work culture out there. And oddly enough, this is a similar sentiment that I've heard across all of Europe, which is why I opened up the video with how much time do you guys normally get off and what are the other perks for your job? Does your job cater to the overall net positive of a work-life balance or not? Let me know in the comments why or why not. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. We'll be looking at what this American had to say and comparing it to a lot of the other countries throughout Europe. And if you guys have anything to add to that, let me know.
Could not go back to work in America after working in the UK. There's no way. I don't care how much you would pay me. The work culture here is just totally different, and I love it. And I love it. The very first reason, my first boss here, he said, there's always time for a cuppa, mate. There's always time for a cuppa. Back in America, when we had coffee or something, it was straight. You got coffee and then straight to work. There was no banter. There's nothing.
This is very true. So a lot of companies that you'll work for and stuff, they highly discourage you doing too much side chit-chatting that has nothing pertaining to the job. So you can't really build a cohesive unit if you guys don't bond. But the companies don't care about that. They care about production. They care about their product, but they don't necessarily care about the people too much. Now, in private sector jobs, maybe there's a higher probability of private sector jobs caring about their people more than public sector jobs. But generally speaking, across the entire United States, companies are very, very, very money hungry, which is normal, right? I mean, America is a capitalistic powerhouse, so there obviously has to be a reason why these companies are generating a ton of money. But what sucks is a lot of people feel like they have to walk on eggshells, especially in times like this where the unemployment is abominable. Everyone is applying for jobs left and right and they can't land anything. And when they do land jobs, they're again walking on eggshells to make sure they don't do anything to get fired. And part of those things is you can't take breaks. Lunch breaks, you got to keep it 10 minutes or less. Although a lot of businesses allocate 30 minutes to sometimes even hour if they're very, very lenient. That's more rare. It's typically 20 to 30 minutes. But if you take anything longer than 15 minutes, you run the risk of getting fired because they think that you are burning through your time and your actions aren't necessarily bringing in them dollars.
When we had coffee or something, it was straight. You got coffee and then straight to work. There was no banter. There's nothing. I was born. And here in England, it's magnificent. I mean, if you were to tell 5-year-old me back in America that we would be having adult tea parties when we were older, I'd be like, hell no, but it's happening. That's what I love about working here. There's always a bit of banter in the mornings, a little bit of chit chat. It's not always straight to work. We gotta have the banter. We gotta have a little laugh just to get started. Else it's just, the day just drags. And there's always time for a cuppa has been my motto ever since. Do you guys think there's such thing as too many tea breaks during the workday? Oh, what time is it? Oh, I don't think there is.
See, and I think that that's really cool because a lot of people would probably look at something like this and think it's frivolous. They're like, dude, that's not that big of a deal. Why are we even talking about it? And again, it's because the work-life balance in the United States, the work culture in general, is fucked. People are working their asses off. They come home exhausted, and that carries into their family life, and the families start falling apart. Get this man a custard cream. See, I don't know what that is. I'm thinking that's ice cream or something, or a yogurt of some type. Yeah, we collectively can't be arsed. We collectively are in the States. I mean, you could look up anybody's personal experience working for companies in the United States, and for the most part, if it's a corporation, it'll be very similar. Now, again, the environments vary depending on which company you work for and the amenities and benefits that the company has to offer. And of course, your qualifications as a person who's seeking employment. If you don't have a certain line of qualifications, then of course, you're only going to qualify for jobs that might not be that great. And then it falls into what I'm talking about. So when we look at the vast majority of Americans, they're not working these extravagant jobs. I mean, a lot of them are working and they're middle-class jobs, right? But if they did have the opportunity to work in better jobs, I'm pretty sure they would take the opportunity like that. I was having a meltdown at work last week and my boss looked at me and went, "Let's have a brew first. Then we'll see if we need to panic." Sounds like a very chill boss. Like I said, for the most part, the experience in the United States, as far as employment goes, is not entirely amazing, right? We do reward hard work. We absolutely reward hard work. But the thing is, perception is reality. So again, if you are caught taking too many sick days, bantering too much, or taking extended lunches, and extended lunches is anything that exceeds 15 minutes, basically, even though they allocate 20 to 30 minutes on average from most places, some places are even an hour. If you are out eating too long, if you are bantering too much, and you are taking too many sick days in the eyes of the company, right? It's like an unwritten rule. They'll let you go. If you're making a drink for yourself, you have to make a drink for everyone. It's the law. Well, it's only fair, right? In an environment like that, I could see that being a thing. That seems like a very chill environment. I'm sure anybody looking at that would be like, yeah, that seems really chill. Now, of course, there are also jobs throughout Europe as well that may not be the best, you know what I'm saying? So maybe some of those jobs don't have those benefits, but there are some things that are mandated by law. Companies have to give their people. And I think that's really cool. But that's in a perfect world. Are there companies that you guys have seen that are notorious for letting people go for, again, the same things that a lot of the companies in the United States also let people go for as well, like taking too much sick leave or maybe too much vacation time? With all those vacation days that people are allotted, I'm surprised people haven't gotten fired from the companies they're working for, because from my perspective, I'm like, dang, do the companies see them as assets if they're taking that much time off? Britt here. I work for a US company from inside the UK. If I leave my current role, I will actively avoid US companies for a new role. It's a morale killer to get to work at 9 a.m. and find 3 of your colleagues you've worked alongside for 11 years gone. No explanation. The work culture is quite unbelievable. Upper management literally online at 4 a.m. their time and not going offline until 8 p.m. The expectation is you do the same. Do I earn a good wage? Yes. It's excellent, but not worth the stress. As soon as I've put away what I need, I'll be leaving. And this is exactly what I've been talking about. Companies are designed in the United States, again, to pump out as much product as possible at the expense of their people. So this includes, but is not limited to, going into work early. If your work hours are from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m., they want you to be there an hour early and leave an hour late. Now, this is if you're working a full-time job. And if you're working a part-time job, it gets even more wicked. So in the United States, they don't have to give you any benefits of a full-time job, meaning health care, an allotment of leave that is pretty much 2 weeks for the whole year, and other benefits that full-time jobs provide if you work less than 40 hours. So what a lot of the companies do for their minimum wage employees that work less than 40 hours a week is they will have you work 39 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds, and they will clock you out at the second. They will squeeze every possible drop of effort out of you to pay you under what full-time is. And that happens to a ton of Americans. Now, for the Americans that work full-time jobs, you do get a lot of benefits associated with that. You have your health insurance covered by the company that you're working for. You get a lot of other benefits and bonuses and things of that nature, which is really cool. But a lot of those things you can't use when in regards to enjoying yourself on your own free time, because the company needs you to work yourself to death. I wouldn't dream of starting work without a brew and a bit of tomfoolery to start the shift. Welcome to life as an American. That is normalcy. Again, there are are companies that don't do the well-trodden path technique where you have to be very cutthroat with how you work and how you like conduct yourself. But it's a lot of US companies, unfortunately. So people are out here struggling. Losing hours worked to Compass and Banter gain multiple hours in productivity and staff training as happy staff stay. And that is arguably one of the best arguments. People will stay at a job where they feel like they're appreciated and they are recharged. And that's just a fact at the end of the day, right? Now, obviously, people need to pay the bills. They need to keep the lights on, so they'll take whatever they can get. But sometimes a work center that is that hostile, that doesn't have all of these really cool perks, becomes so stressful and overwhelming that we wind up quitting and looking for a better job in the market. And I told you, the market right now is not good. So you're kind of in employment limbo for a while. And it's not a great position to be in. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments down below. What is the work culture like where you're from in comparison to what you've seen in the United States? And if you guys have worked for a US company before, what was that experience like? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it, neutral? Did you like the money, or was the money not worth the stress?